Hello, today we're looking at Glencoe Course 2 Math, Lesson 4-7 on converting between units. We're going to start on page 320. And when we convert between units, there's several ways that this can be done. The way that I'm going to show you is called dimensional analysis. That means that we're going to work with our units first, and then we're going to fill in numbers. Some of the other ways that you can convert between different types of units say that you either multiply or you divide by a conversion factor. But remembering which way that we're going can be difficult sometimes. This way, using dimensional analysis, make sure that we will never have to figure out, we're not going to have to try to remember, do we multiply or do we divide when we convert, okay? That means that that part of getting an answer wrong is going to be eliminated from the situation. Sound fair? Okay. Now, if you look at the top of page 320, there's a table of conversions. A conversion means that we have two different units, and it tells you how many of one unit make up the other. Okay? So, we know that if we look at the top in length, it says that 1 inch is equivalent to 2.54 centimeters. Okay? So, we're going to be going from English to metric and from metric to English. English is what we generally use. Those are our inches, our yards, our feet, our miles, our cups, our quarts, our gallons, okay? The metric system, those are our meters and centimeters and millimeters and kilometers and milliliters and liters, okay? This table is here for you to use. Are we going to guess what a conversion is? No. We're not going to guess. We're going to look it up. Okay? So, the first thing that we're going to do is look at example 2. Example 2 asks us to convert 5 kilometers to miles. So, I'm going from kilometers and I need to end up at miles. Correct?
Yes,
no. Okay. When we use dimensional analysis, I said that we talk about our units first. So, we also do this using the form of fractions, and we always multiply. Because if we multiply by half, what's that the same as doing? Dividing by 2. And if we needed to divide by 3, what's that the same as multiplying by?
2, 4. Is there a number? 3.
If we're dividing by 3, how would we multiply that?
6.
2.
We'd multiply by 1/3.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if I had to divide by 4, what would I multiply by?
1/4.
1/4. Good. So, because we're going to do everything by multiplying, can we still, in a sense, divide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. That value would just be in our denominator instead of our numerator. Now, when we do this, I'm starting out with kilometers. If I have something in my numerator and something in the denominator that's the same, they can cancel each other out. So I have to get away from kilometers and get 2 miles. Do I have a conversion factor in my table that goes from miles to kilometers?
Yeah.
I do? Okay, fantastic. That means that I only need 1 conversion this time. Okay? So I'm getting rid of kilometers. I start with kilometers in my numerator. So I need to put the kilometers in my denominator and my miles in the numerator. Because when I do that, my kilometers will cancel. Then what units am I left with?
Miles.
What am I looking to end with?
Miles.
Miles. Okay? Now that I've got my units figured out, now I can fill in numbers. Hold on just a second. Let me do it all first, then I'll ask for questions. What did my problem give me? How many kilometers did I start with? No, in my problem. In example 2.
1.6. 1.61.
5.
No.
In my problem, it said that I had 5 kilometers.
Oh.
Okay, so I start with that 5. That has a denominator of 1. What is my conversion factor? That's what you were trying to give me. What's my conversion factor?
1.61
Is that miles or kilometers?
kilometers.
1.61 per 1 mile?
Yeah.
Okay. So, are all of my numbers accounted for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are my units taken care of?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Now guess what?
What?
You multiply the numerators, you divide by everything in the denominator. So, using a handy dandy calculator, you can use a calculator this time. I'm going to have a couple people do it to justify. If we can go grab one, go ahead. 5 times 1 is?
1.
5.
Christ.
5 divided by 1.61 is what?
Oh, I don't know. You said 5 divided by 1.61 is what?
3.1055900062.
Okay, we're going to round to the nearest hundredths. That means we're going to give 2 decimal places. So we end up with 3.11 miles over 1, which is 3.11 miles. Ladies and gentlemen, have any of you guys ever heard of a 5K run?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys know I don't do cardio, but I will walk for a good cause. Okay. So if I walked a 5K, how far did I go?
3.11 miles.
Right. About 3 and a little bit miles. Okay? Is that important to know? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Most places around the world, if you travel, they use the metric system instead of the English system that we use. Or the customary system, as it's also called. If you were going someplace else and they say that, oh, your hotel is 20 kilometers away, we might want to know about how far that is. Okay? Especially because a lot of countries also walk everywhere. You want to know if you're going to walk or if you're going to get a taxi. Right? Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, are there questions about what we did here?
No.
Yes, sir. So the grams and kilograms and milligrams, and those are conversions within each type of system. What we're going to have to use some of those too, just like knowing how many cups are in a quart and how many quarts are in a gallon.
So is it the same thing like that?
They're similar. So both are converting units. Both are converting units. But before you converted within the same type of unit, this is converting between different types of units. Okay? And that's where this format, using dimensional analysis, comes into play. Because we know that gallons are bigger than quarts, correct? Okay. Do you know which is further, a kilometer or a mile?
I meant to say that. Got frustrated.
Exactly. That I'm not quite sure thing comes into play. And that's where this takes care of the do I multiply or do I divide. Okay? Because we're canceling out our units first, it automatically takes care of that. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Alright, any other questions? Alright, I want us to look at example 3. Example 3 says to convert 828.5 milliliters to cups. So what units do I start with? What units do I start with in example 3?
Cups.
I start with cups?
I mean, millimeters.
Milliliters?
Milliliters.
Milliliters. Okay, so I start out with milliliters, which I can use the abbreviation ML. We use the abbreviation ML for milliliters. What am I trying to get to? Cups. Look back at page 320. Do I have a conversion between milliliters and cups? I do? Okay. So, do I need milliliters on the top or on the bottom?
Bottom.
Milliliters goes in my denominator on the bottom. Okay. What unit goes on top in my numerator?
Cups.
Cups. Alright. How many, what is the conversion between cups and milliliters?
236.59 milliliters.
So for every 1 cup, there are 236.59 milliliters.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? So I know that I have a denominator of 1 here. How many milliliters did I start out with?
236. No.
How
We're
many?
doing that.
Number, example 3.
828.5.
Okay. Now we need to multiply our numerators, divide by any denominators other than 1. So I need to take 825.5 times 1 and divide it by 236.59. Yes.
35.1208.139.
Okay. We're rounding to hundredths, which is 2 decimal places. Alright. My denominator here is going to be a 1. So my final answer is 35.12 cups.
It's the same thing though. Why you doing that?
What?
It could be the same thing.
Why do I put the 1? Why do I put the 1 here?
Yeah.
Because we're showing that we didn't just eliminate. By putting the 1 here, we're showing that we didn't just forget about the fact that we had a denominator. Here we're simplifying out of that denominator. Okay?
It gave you a fraction.
Right. We're using the form of a fraction to convert between units. You don't want to do that? You- Okay. Any other questions?
No, ma'am. I'm good.
We're Gucci, we're good? Yes.
You divide those 2 big numbers.
I took 828.5
Yes.
and I divided it by 236.59.
Oh, alright. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Did you get the same thing we did?
You said you divided, and that's that dot.
I'm real up.
Right, but if we But just like we said that multiplying by a half and dividing by 2 were the same thing, multiplying by 1 over 236.59 is the same as dividing by 236.59.
So you can do the same thing. Divide.
Yep. Other questions?
No, we Gucci.
Alright, do we need another example?
Yeah.
For sure?
For sure.
Okay, we're going to do a Mrs. Blum example. Alright, we're gonna step it up a notch. Ready? Okay. We have 37 meters per 1 second. I want to know how far that, I want to know what speed that is in miles per hour. We can do it. Okay, so do you guys want to, I'm going to let you choose. Should we take care of the seconds to hours first? or the meters to miles first?
Meters to hours. Seconds to hours.
Meters to miles.
Meters to
Seconds.
miles.
Meters.
Okay,
Meters,
guys,
seconds.
we're gonna end up doing both. We're doing both.
Exactly.
The question is, which one do we do first? Alright, we'll take care of seconds to hours first. Do we know how many seconds there are in 1 hour?
Yes.
We
no,
do?
We don't. No, we don't. No, we don't.
No? How can I get there?
We do know how many
You,
We know how many
multiply.
minutes are in an hour. Do we know how many seconds are in a minute?
Multiply.
Okay.
It's 60.
60 million.
Hold on. So, we're going to go from seconds to minutes. Is that what you guys want to do?
60 million seconds in the hours.
No. If I multiply like this with seconds in my numerator, minutes in my denominator, does that take care of seconds?
This moment cancels
Yeah.
each other out.
Okay, and now we need to go from minutes to hours? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right? Okay, so let's double check. My seconds will cancel, correct? And my minutes will cancel?
Yes, ma'am.
What units am I left with?
Hours.
Hours, is that what I needed to be at?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, meters to miles. Do I have a meters to miles conversion?
No.
Yes. What are you talking about, man?
Some
Yes.
are meters. But we don't have a meter.
No, but I have a kilometers to miles.
Kilometers.
You know what? So let's change it. My example, I get to change it. We're going to go from kilometers to miles. Do I have a kilometers to miles conversion?
No. Oh, I mean, yes.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's opposite day, so you gotta say no.
Kilometers, does that go in my numerator or denominator?
No.
Denominator. Denominator.
Denominator.
And miles is in my numerator? So then my kilometers cancel?
You already know.
And I'm left with miles?
Yeah.
Cool. Now let's fill in some numbers. How many, what's my seconds to minutes conversion?
60 and 1.
60 what?
Seconds.
In,
1 minute.
okay? What's my minutes to hours conversion?
60 minutes.
minutes in 1 hour.
1 hour? What's my miles and kilometers conversion?
1 mile and 1.61 kilometers.
Okay? With a handy dandy calculator, we need to multiply 37 times 60 times 60 divided by 1.61. You need to take
I got it.
37 times 60 times 60 divided by 1.61. What did you get?
Wow.
32.
Okay, what did you get?
82732.
Okay? Anybody else?
Hold on.
Oh, you want the other? You want the whole thing?
I need 2 decimal places if we have a decimal. Yes.
13.320.
What? What?
Double check.
Did
You
do
took 37 times 60 times 60 divided by 1.61? I think you forgot a number. Double check.
Probably forgot the one.
It's okay. Guys, that's why we do examples.
Alrighty.
Double check.
Right.
Bring it up to me.
Your smile.
Thank you. So what we got was 8 2,732.92 when rounded. So that means that our answer is 82,732.91 miles per hour. Dry. Okay. Questions? Because this one had more steps to it, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you leave that up there?
Always.
Alright, thank you.
Well, till the end of class, always, but yeah. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.